Hello, Kevin. I have a ghost story for you that's haunting in more ways than one. You have my permission to use it, and you can even use my name. I'm almost 70, and I'm too old to give a rat's ass what people think about me. This comes from Becky Floyd. Kevin, you have no idea how comforting your YouTube videos have been for me, especially the ones you made about what it's like to be the child of a mentally ill parent who has never received help. I too fall into this category, and I'd be willing to bet that if my mother would have ever sought help, she would have been diagnosed as having borderline personality disorder, just like your mother. There were 4 of us kids in our family. I was the only girl, which made the way my mother treated me and my 2 brothers even worse. I know it was hard on my 2 brothers, both of them older than me, but I feel like a girl deserves to have a mother, and I feel like I never did, even though my mother didn't die until just a few years back. She lived to be 94 years old. Everything in the eyes of Mama was either black or white, good or bad. Just like you said in your video. Well, me and my 2 older brothers were the bad kids, I guess, and our youngest brother, James, was the good kid. I understand that parents sometimes will spoil the baby, but this wasn't anything like that at all. Mama downright worshipped the ground that James walked on and wouldn't have pissed on the ground me and my other brothers walked on if it was on fire. She actually told us all once that she never knew what it felt like to love another human being until James was born. My daddy didn't like hearing that any more than the rest of us kids, but by that time, she'd had him whipped into shape. He knew to go along to get along and never question her warped sense of reality, which was very unrealistic, or there would be complete hell to pay. Mama was always mean to me and my other 2 brothers. She was always pointing out where we fell short, which was everywhere. She was the most critical person I've ever known. Of course, except for when it came to James. James could do no wrong. Kevin, here's the kicker. My other 2 brothers and I went to college. We graduated, and we were first in our family to do so. We all had good jobs. I'm a retired dental hygienist assistant, and both of my brothers became teachers, one high school and one grade school. Their students and their students' parents loved them. One is retired, but the other is still teaching. He said he won't stop until he dies because it's his life. Honestly, I think it's because he likes the feeling of being loved by his students. He never received that feeling from our parents. James never amounted to anything. He never went to college, and the only time he'd work long enough to act as if he'd been injured and then try to get a disability check. He finally got full disability. He sued 3 of his former employers, and Kevin, no one in our family has ever been like that except him. He was just so ruined by our mother that he, honest to God, believed that the world and everyone in it owed him something for nothing. Our father died a couple of years before Mama, and when Mama died, none of us were shocked to find that everything she and Daddy had went to James. They had 8 acres and an old farmhouse. It's where we all grew up, outside of town about 10 miles. Real estate in our part of the world isn't nearly as pricey as it is in yours. I've been to Charlottesville, but it was the act of it all that hurt so bad. My other brothers and I are fine financially because we learned from a young age that we needed to take care of ourselves. Because if our name wasn't James, Mama wouldn't be of any help, and she wouldn't let Daddy be of any help either. Anyway, James didn't last a year after Mama died. To say he was a mama's boy would be an understatement. He never married and had kids. He had his own house, one Mama bought him just a mile down the road, and he would literally spend all day, every day, hanging out with Mama. He was in terrible physical condition. He let himself go years ago, trying to act like he was hurt when he wasn't, and it all caught up to him. He was well over 300 pounds, and he wasn't even 6 feet tall. It was the COVID that got him. He finally caught it, and he was in such terrible condition his body couldn't fight it. Anyway, James had left the property he got from Mama to my niece, our oldest brother's daughter. And that was just to spite us by not leaving it to us. Trust me, none of us had any sort of healthy relationship with him. He and my oldest brother hadn't spoken for nearly 10 years, even though they lived in the same county. We think that's another reason he gave the property to his daughter. to especially spite him. Well, my niece didn't want it, so she turned it over to her dad. He told us all we could use it anytime we wanted. My son is a big hunter, and he and his buddies use it as a hunting camp. But other than that, no one really goes out there. It's not like the place holds any fond memories for me. But here's the thing, and this is what makes this a ghost story. I'm sorry if it seems like I've been crying tears in my beers, but I needed to thank you for the help you've been for me, but I also needed to give you the backstory so that what I tell you next will make sense. Shortly after my son started using the old home place as a hunting camp, he and his friends said they started hearing someone, a woman, weeping in the night. I just thought they were out there telling ghost stories and scaring themselves, but it got to the point that one of my son's buddies wouldn't go there anymore. I know this kid. Hell, I say kid, he's in his early 40s, and he is no sissy. I decided, as hard as it might be, with all my terrible memories of that place, to go out there with my son one weekend and stay overnight. Kevin, I heard it too, and it was Mama. In between the sobs, I could hear her mumbling, and it was definitely her voice. I was sleeping in my old room the first time I heard it, and that's where I heard it. When I sat up in bed and turned the light on, it stopped. Later that same night, I heard it twice more, but not in my room. I heard it in the rooms that would have belonged to my older brothers. One of my 2 other brothers has gone out and he's heard it too. The other, the one who's still teaching, refuses to go. He's done really well with coming to peace with the fact that he grew up with a mentally ill mother, and he refuses to open old wounds in any way. Kevin, my brothers and I are convinced that we're hearing the ghost of my mother, and we're convinced she's sobbing because she regrets the way she treated us. We faulted her for years, but once we were able to understand the damage that untreated mental illness causes people, the whole family, we stopped faulting her. We stopped hating our mother, so to say, and began hating the illness she never knew she had and refused to get treated. Kevin, I know you've had a rough go of things for similar reasons as me, and I commend you on coming as far as you have. It's a wonderful thing to watch you place your focus on your beautiful family that you have now and the wonderful life you live. You may never find that Bigfoot Sasquatch that may or may not live in the woods behind your house, but never give up looking. And no matter what you do, never turn around and look back. There's scarier things than cryptids and ghosts behind us all. Give my best to your beautiful family. Becky Floyd. Becky, thank you for your email. Thank you for your message. Because just as I have helped you, according to you, I believe you just helped a lot of other people. And I'll see all of you again for more next time.